What's up with the gang? It's your boy Josh. Back with another video, man. Today we got I don't even got a title for this video, but we basically finna be reacting to the whole Lil Durk situation, the murder for hire investigation. So hey, shout out Quando. If y'all follow us on Instagram, he mentioned us. He showed love, man.
But yeah, shout out to Quando. Cool. You know what? I can't call him my favorite bad rascal no more. But
They say that show, you know how I say YN?
that's not what that is. I don't care what they said. I saw that comment. I said that is not what that is. But is it, to be honest, it's a term. It's not a term of degradation or anything like that. But I thought about it, and because he said that that he's no longer a bad rascal because he's put away childish things. That's grown man talk, and that's for real. Much respect to him for that, because at the end of the day, man, it takes you can have a lot of people around you trying to influence you to do certain things and all of that, but when you really grab hold to your own destiny and your own person. I can't even think of the right word, but you just basically you get control of your own self. You'll disappoint people when you every time when you raise your standard, you're gonna thin your crowd. A lot of people gonna be around you for what they can get, for what they can get, and this, that, and the other. But again, when you raise your standard, your crowd starts thinning out. And the higher you raise, the more thin it gets. But that's when you get to see the real people. And so for him to really take control of of his own life and openly say, because it's a risk for him to openly say, you know what, I ain't gang banging no more. I'm putting all that down and I'm doing my own thing. I love that. I love that. And so for as a young man, for him to do that is just profound. And I hope he influences others to do the exact same thing. So
We blood versus Crip.
huh? Boy, if you don't shush. Shout out to Halea.
Oh my
Did I
God.
say that right?
Yeah.
Got a shout out to Halea. She made my day. She was so cool. Just a cool little sister. Thank you.
And shout
darling.
out Adrian from Walmart, man.
Nah, Omari Muhammad.
Oh shoot.
Omari Muhammad from
Omari,
Walmart.
my fault.
Yeah.
I thought it was Adrian. I don't
and
know why I
also-
said Adrian.
Estevan. Shout out to Estevan. Met him. He was working a brunch spot that I was at Sunday. So brother came up speaking. So it's real cool.
If you know, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow the Instagram. Yeah, follow the Instagram for real. Let's get straight to it. Gang.
Lil Durk, the Chicago artist whose popularity has blown up over the past few years, while he is behind bars and headed for criminal court in California. Prosecutors say he orchestrated a plot to hire
he's in
hitmen
California
and
jail?
take out a rap rival.
Wow.
As we're tracking the progress of this case, we're also taking a closer look at how we even got here and how an apparent feud turned deadly. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Well, Grammy Award-winning artist and reported multimillionaire Lil Durk, whose real name is Durk Banks, is in a lot of trouble right now. The FBI says that he was part of a complicated murder-for-hire scheme that involved a shooting in the middle of the day at a Beverly Hills gas station in 2022. This actually resulted in the death of Savia Robinson, the cousin of Georgia rapper Quando Rondo.
Okay.
Prosecutors say was the actual intended target.
Now, and that was Pab, right? Okay.
Of this assassination, but he wasn't harmed in the shooting. According to prosecutors, Durk helped organize and pay for his alleged co-conspirators to travel from Chicago to Los Angeles in order to kill Rondo. Durk had reportedly put out a hit on Rondo, offering money to anyone who would take him out.
So he was trying to kill
Multiple people
Rondo?
were indicted in California court.
Yeah.
I thought, wow.
Cause he the one, or Quando cousin. That's crazy.
Okay, Quando's cousin
Quando
killed
cousins
King
killed
Von.
King Von.
And King Von
killed his
is
cousin.
cool. Wait.
King Von is cool with Lil Durk.
Right. Okay. So who's cousin?
And Lil Tim, Quando cousin, killed King Von. And then Durk, since he's cousins with King Von, he tried to kill Quando, but he killed Quando's cousin.
That's
it's really not that hard.
That's too much. I'm just saying it's too much to follow, and it's too many loose ends on that kind of stuff.
Including Durk. Now, the named defendants in the indictment are Kevon London Grant, DeAndre Dontrell Wilson, Keith Jones, David Brian Lindsay, and Asa Houston. Now, Grant was reportedly a top associate in the OTF organization. This is the Family Rap Collective created by Durk many years ago, but authorities say this group functions more like a criminal organization with Durk at the very top. But to get to the heart of this alleged conspiracy, we need to take a step back and we need to understand what is this apparent long-running feud between Lil Durk and Quando Rondo, right? Why would Durk want to kill him? And to help me sort all of this out, because it is a little bit of a complex timeline, I want to bring in Sean Sitaro, who is author of the book Dummy Boy, Tekashi 6ix9ine and the 9 Trey Gangsta Blood. Sean, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Hey, Jesse, thanks for having me. And yeah, you are right. This is complicated. I don't know if we'll be able to get totally to the bottom of it, but I will do my best. You know, there are some mysteries in this story.
Yeah, and first, before we even get into that, when you saw these charges, were you surprised?
I mean, yes, in that they were very serious. Obviously, murder for hire is a very serious
that's crazy
charge. And, you know, Durk is a big star, and he seemed to be kind of moving away from...
That's what it seemed like.
I guess some of the sort of more sordid aspects of his image, right? He was making the move to television, right? He was on a Power spinoff. He had, I believe, the details are vague, but he had something to do with like his criminal record being wiped. He was getting, you know, proclamations from, you know, the mayors of cities. He seems, you know, he is now very sort of community oriented and all this stuff, and seems to be moving away from, you know, being involved in beefs and all this kind of thing. So I think as contrasted to his moves in, you know, recent months, recent year or two, yes, I would say this, you know, this caught me by surprise. But obviously this beef, as we'll talk about, has a long history.
By the way, here on Sidebar, I talk a lot about the law. This is the Law and Crime Network. I talk a lot about the law, but I also talk about legal decisions, legal rulings. And I have a landmark one for you right now that has just changed things in a very big way. Why? Because you can now legally trade on who will win the 2024 election. Yes, legally. And that's because our sponsor of Sidebar, Kalshi, went to court and won legal approval for election trading for the first win. Coming there, /Sidebar drill, it's a face and YouTube. He's considered to be one of the pioneers of what's called drill. It's a subgenre of hip hop. And he formed Only the Family in 2010 with his friend King Von joining on as well. Then you have 25-year-old Quando Rondo, Georgia rapper, first.
So Quando's 25 now? Really? Okay.
Uploaded his music to SoundCloud, we believe in 2017. He joined up with NBA Youngboys Collective, Never Broke Again in 2018. He's collaborated with him on multiple songs. Before we get into the actual feud between these two, I don't know if I'm doing it enough justice here, Sean, but talk to me about the influence of both rappers in the industry. Well, yeah. How big were both of they? How big of an influence did they both have? Talk to us about that.
I would say, you know, Durk is a major star. Like I said, he is moving into television. He's collaborated with, you know, the biggest names in the industry, including Drake. He had I think is in the process of making a leap from being, you know, someone rap fans know about to someone the general public knows about.
I would like to believe that he's not involved.
True, not necessarily of Quando Rondo, but of NBA Youngboy, also who you mentioned, who is, you know, by miles and miles the most popular artist on YouTube. That's where, for whatever combination of reasons, and that's a whole other topic, a large part of his fan base lives. He is giantly popular. I would say, especially among younger listeners. And at this point, it's been around long enough to kind of be pretty influential. He and Quando Rondo are very close. Quando Rondo is signed to his label. And, Young Boy plays a large part in all of this, this whole sort of back and forth that forms the background to this case.
So we have these four men, right? We have Lil Durk, we have Quando Rondo, we have King Von, we have NBA Youngboy. And all four of them had crossed paths with each other over the years in the music world. But things really started to get heated when seemingly King Von appeared to diss some of NBA Youngboy's music during an Instagram live session. And that led to a whole flurry of back and forth on social media with insults flying between the groups. In 2020, King Von said on a live stream that there really wasn't a beef between him and Youngboy. He said, they be saying that a lot. It's like we got the same issues and women, and you know how the internet will try to make it, but it ain't nothing sincere, nothing that you should worry about. Then just days later, King Von would be dead because at around 2 a.m. on November 6, 2020, apparently Lil Durk's crew got into it with Quando Rondo's crew outside of a hookah lounge in Atlanta, Georgia. There ended up being a shootout. Man. 6 people shot, 2 died, including King Von. And despite surveillance footage allegedly showing that a man named Timothy Leaks was the one who actually shot King Von, many believe Quando Rondo was really to blame for the confrontation. By the way, Leaks' murder charge actually ended up getting dismissed. But Sean, talk to me about the beginnings of this feud.
What?
Why did it end up getting dismissed?
Cause King Von attacked him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, you know what? My bad. I remember that. Okay.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, the beginnings of this feud are sort of shrouded in mystery, right? You mentioned this Instagram live where Von is just in a car and listening to NBA Youngboy, and he, seemingly out of nowhere says, "Oh, NBA Youngboy, what's he doing? He lies in his music, right?" I think says he has cap in his raps, right? Something to that effect, and that.
Cap in his raps.
What exactly caused that?
And what's crazy is to hear people try to explain
in the moment,
it.
Was it indicative of larger tensions that were bubbling behind the scenes? Honestly, I don't know. I don't think that many people outside of the real group of intimates of both sides knows. So maybe there was something before that, as far as I know, isn't public knowledge, but that was really sort of the first firing up.
And Von was a good storyteller,
back and forth that reached the public. Right. And then, like you said, you had various back and forth, people, photographed with each other's girlfriends, doing songs with each other's girlfriends and baby mothers. And, that ratcheted up the tension even more, and insults flying and all that kind of stuff. I'm happy to go into that in some more detail if you want. But
yeah.
To a certain extent.
And see, and then what's crazy is that you got people reporting on it who probably or more than likely have never even met him.
Yeah.
Never met none of them. And it's like they get paid off of our drama or drama, I'll say. And it's like I just wish that we could grasp how much we feed the machine in certain ways that we choose to get out. And I just wish that it wasn't so, man.
Sorry, I was going to say, to a certain extent, like I said, the beginnings are sort of shrouded in mystery a little bit.
Well, and I'm glad you mentioned that because, look, for Rondo's part, he's always maintained that he wasn't to blame for this Atlanta shooting, that he wasn't to blame for King Von's death. And he put out a song not long afterwards, after the shooting, where he talked about how it was all self-defense. Actually, in an interview in April of 2021, Rondo claimed that he was asleep in a car when all of this happened. He also claimed he didn't even know that King Von was there and he never had beef with him. He said, "I don't know where none of that came from. I never in life had words with them, ever. I did not know that was him. I swear this is all. I did not know this was him until the next day." But according to the FBI, Durk had used coded language to put out a hit on Rondo, offering money to anyone who would kill his rival. And prosecutors say
but that was Rondo that just said that,
the
though.
gas station shooting in Beverly Hills. So talk to me, Sean, about more of this. You mentioned being with women, the songs. I think the songs back and forth. Did that have anything to do with it as well?
Yeah, I mean, look, you can't know for certain, but definitely, there was a few months before the King Von shooting. Von posts a picture holding hands with a woman who was had a child with NBA YoungBoy, and that was sort of taken by all parties to be an insult. Then YoungBoy, in retaliation, posts a photo of himself with his own son and captions it, "I'm going to make sure my son F your daughter since you're trolling." And many people thought that was directly aimed at Von.
Oh my
Quando at this
God,
point
bro.
sort of jumps in. He
I didn't know that. That ain't
defends
right.
NBA YoungBoy. There are to recap this whole thing and all the shots back and forth. There are 13, 15-minute videos online that you can find, right, capturing every single back and forth. But YoungBoy, a few days before Von is killed, does a song with Asian Doll, who Von had dated on and off. And then, a few months later, you have Von saying in interviews, "This is nothing too serious." And I think, you can kind of make of that what you will. But yeah, there were plenty of song and, plenty of sort of coded disses back and forth, or lyrics that I think fans interpret as being about each other, flying back and forth during this period as well.
Was there any overt threats? Anything like that?
I mean, I think it sort of depends on how you read the language. And in all of this stuff, I think there is a certain amount of sort of coded language, plausible deniability. I think Von's sister at some point gets dragged into this, but, lyrics about your sister could, in theory, be about anyone's sister, or a sort of generic, I'll get your relative, right? I'm not saying she was threatened. I forget the exact context of the lyric, but just for example, right? So I think, there are context clues that this is what was being talked about in these songs, certainly. But there's always that little bit of sort of plausible deniability. I think that's also true when you look at after, we'll talk about Quando's cousin being killed, but a few months after that, 5-6 months after that, Durk is in an interview with DJ Academics, and he's sort of talking about the beef, and he says very elliptically, he's referencing the fact that people have always told him, "Oh, you have to get revenge for Von, you have to get revenge for Von." And he says very elliptically, this is a few months after Quando Rondo's cousin is murdered, he says, "I don't hear comments like that anymore for some reason." Those are his words, "for some reason," right? So there's always this like little bit of like, if you know, you know.
Now check this.
Hey, he low-key, white boy low-key know something. If you know, you know.
Okay. He says
you know the code, man.
He talks about how it was elliptically. Okay. I want to challenge I guess folk to the word elliptical is deep. I'm not going to explain what it is, but I'm just curious as to how many folk are really up on, elliptical conversations, what elliptical means. It's just
speaking in code.
No, it's not necessarily speaking in code. I mean, it that can be included in it though. Yeah.
So there's always this like little bit of like, if you know, you know stuff buried in how people talk during this beef.
It was interesting. I was talking to Bradford Cohen, who's a high-powered attorney, represents a lot of celebrities, and we were saying how there might be multiple ways to look at this, because there's one text message that's really, really bad that might show Lil Durk's involvement in this, and I'm going to lay out what this murder for hire plot. But the way you can look at it is,
I'm trying to dive. I'm trying to see
he
like
was funding this. He knew what was
the
going
evidence,
on. Or he's like, listen, I don't know what you guys are up to. I don't know.
So we got 2 big trials that's finna go on. No, 3. We got YSL.
Wait, they're in a trial, right?
Yeah, that's Rico.
Okay.
We got YSL. We got Diddy finna come up. Then this gonna start.
You say we like you involved. I get it. I get it.
I'm just saying.
What you guys are doing, I'm staying out of it. Don't keep my name in this. I don't want to have any part of it. So obviously there's two ways to look at it. But I do want to talk about the shooting. So this was the culmination of this alleged murder for hire plot. And prosecutors allege that Lil Durk, he learned that Rondo was going to be in Los Angeles, so he helped pay for these alleged hitmen to fly down to San Diego, then drive to L.A. Kevon Grant is the one who's accused of booking the hotels, getting the cars, buying the ski masks, finding weapons, including a gun that the government says had been modified into a full-on machine gun, which itself is a federal crime. And the indictment accused the defendants of following Quando Rondo's black Escalade around Los Angeles. And traffic camera, by the way, the photos, they show a white Infiniti following the Escalade until it pulls into a gas station, and the driver of the Infiniti parks behind the gas station in an alley. In the indictment, TB, by the way, refers to Taekwon Bowman, which is Quando Rondo's real name. SR is his cousin, who I mentioned before, Savai Robinson. And the indictment reads, on August 19th, 2022, at the Beverly gas station, defendants Jones and Lindsay and co-conspirator 2 used the firearms procured by defendant Grant, including the fully automatic firearm, to shoot at TB's car, striking and killing SR, who was standing next to TB's car while TB was inside. The images below show defendants Jones and Lindsay and co-conspirator 2 firing their
imagine
guns
if
at
Quando
TB's
would've
black
died.
Escalade. And the filing includes surveillance photos of the suspects appearing to fire guns.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Towards.
But see, now here's what's crazy too: the way that they have their facts and all that stuff tied up. It's like, understand this. This kind of stuff is not going to be put out unless they know what they're talking about.
Yeah, I seen a video. It was a lady talking about. She said if the feds pick up a case, they say it's a slam dunk.
Yeah. If because all of their stuff is going to be solid, and if feds start asking you questions, they're not asking because they don't know. They're asking because they absolutely know. They're just trying to figure out how far you're going to get tied up or how much you're going to loose yourself from whatever it is. So, man, you can't say enough. Keep your stay. Just when you realize that somebody's on some bull, man, leave it alone. Just get away from them. Yeah.
I think so.
Especially if it's not yours to be involved in and you don't want to be involved in it, man. Leave the garbage alone, man. Go ahead.
Durk said today that he gonna fight the charge.
Yeah, he gonna fight the charge. He don't have a choice but to fight the charge.
And he said he's in great spirits after the murder. He said the jail food sucked though.
Firing their guns at TB's black Escalade. And the filing includes surveillance photos of the suspects appearing to fire guns towards the gas pumps, again, in the middle of the day. And as I mentioned, Robinson was killed. Rondo, the alleged target of this hit, as I mentioned, wasn't hurt. Sean, that brazen attack. Talk to us about when this happened, what the reaction was.
When it broad daylight?
Yeah, I mean, wow. Yeah, I would say it was definitely very shocking, right? And, unfortunately, there have been any number of shootings of entertainers, of rappers in recent years. So, unfortunately, there were precedents for this, right? You can talk about Young Dolph, other things like that have happened. So, it was surprising. I think it was, very sad.
It is.
Certainly,
it is.
Did people think about, well, who has Quando Rondo been, had public disagreements with? I think certainly that entered into some people's heads. It's tough.
And
Andre
then,
G, who writes for Rolling Stone, had a
just to know that
fantastic article
somebody
recently where he
has
really
that much
decried
animus for you that they're trying to
this
kill
sort of
you.
fan pressure on Durk and on his crew
That's
to
crazy.
retaliate for Vaughn. Like there were fans saying stuff like,
I read that.
You've got to slide for Vaughn, right? It really is very tough when...
And it ought to be weird when you hear reporters and journalists and people talking about this kind of stuff and trying to use and using the lingo. It ought to strike a contrast that says, you know what, it's really not worth it, man.
Fans treat this like a game, right? Where you have to get revenge and that, you know, because of to uphold your reputation and all of this stuff. This is not to say Durk was involved in this, obviously, but just the fact that those comments even exist, I think, is indicative of, you know, something that we really need to think about and examine.
I 100% agree with you. That is, I read that article too. You know, I didn't know what was going on, and to hear that, and I don't even want to say pressure, but to hear this kind of egging on and encouragement is really, really problematic because it's not a game. And I will say, one of the other things that's problematic for Lil Durk is that on the day this indictment came down and his alleged co-conspirators were arrested, Durk, prosecutors say, was allegedly trying to flee the country, having reportedly booked multiple flights to places like the United Arab Emirates and Italy. And U.S. Marshals, they found him about an hour before he was supposed to take off. Again, I spoke with Bradford Cohen about this. A very interesting explanation for that. He said one of the things that you could see happen is sometimes people who think they're about to be indicted or about to be arrested, they will book flights to see if they get red flagged. It's a way to them, they're not actually intending to flee the country. They just want to see if they're going to get red flagged so they know that an arrest might be incoming. Really interesting conversation about that. Now, at last check, Lil Durk was in the Broward County Jail. He's awaiting extradition to California to face these charges. So what does this mean for the apparent beef between Lil Durk and Quando Rondo? Well, Rondo actually released a new single from his album Here for a Reason just after the arrest, and the new single is called Life Goes On. And in an Instagram post, Rondo wrote, "We didn't get into this music industry to make it, just to stay caught up in this street S. We all have families and communities counting on us. It's time to leave all that behind. We've already lost so much, and it's heavy on my heart to forgive anyone I had issues with in the past. It's all love from me, praying for everyone." And while he didn't specifically mention Lil Durk, it certainly seems or could be interpreted like he's addressing their feud.
Regardless as to, okay, first off, again, that's grown man statements. And it's grown man mindset, it's grown man action. And so Rondo has nothing but respect from me just on the strength of that and that alone, because that's dope. It's cool to see people who have the epiphany that says, you know what, I'm gonna just lay, I'm gonna lay aside the garbage that doesn't need to be involved in my life, you know, and you raising your standards, man.
Sean, what'd you take away from that?
I was very glad to see that. I think it makes sense, right? And I hope that is his actual attitude and not for public consumption. I'm sure he feels all kinds of ways all of the time, but I hope that remains his sort of public stance about all of this. I know it surprised a lot of people, his response that it wasn't antagonistic and it wasn't even, let's let this play out, justice will be done, blah, 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 like you often hear from people in comparable situations, but that it was sort of an active call for peace and forgiveness and sort of hoping for the greater good. I was very pleasantly surprised to see that statement.
He did it for himself,
that's
though.
A really good way to look at it.
Not
Sean
for
Sataro,
public
thank you so
impression.
much for coming on. Let everybody know where they can find you if they want to see more of your writing.
Why you cut it?
Oh,
okay, I got it. Yeah, those are power moves that you make for yourselves, and I'm proud of him for doing it, man. For real.
With Lil Durk arrested following the information revealed about OTF Jam snitching on all of OTF, recent interviews from Lil Durk proved he already knew Jam was acting suspiciously. It was announced Lil Durk.
Let's watch this.
I thought you said it was one.
Yeah, I'm gonna combine it.
That ain't one.
With Lil Durk
That's not
arrested following
one.
the information revealed about OTF Jam snitching on all of OTF, recent interviews from Lil Durk proved he already knew Jam was acting suspiciously. It was announced Lil Durk has been playing 3D chess this entire time. He knew OTF Jam was gonna cooperate.
I see shit from a mile away. I don't think people realize that. I could have a conversation with you for 5 seconds.
It's not the full thing.
It's gonna cooperate.
As Durk would later speak further on this, saying he doesn't even allow his friends to know where he lives no more and gives no information to anyone. You can tell how sad he is knowing Jam's snitching.
Nobody. Nobody is ever allowed to my house. It be. My best friend never been to my house.
For real?
I promise.
Your best friend?
I promise. Like it's people like that. I just don't allow around my girl and my kids, cause it's like I'm just a different type. I'm not the. We're gonna have family night at Durk house tonight. It's the. You gotta watch.
Everybody at Durk's crib.
Yeah, we gotta. Everybody getting watched. We gotta watch everybody. Hey, you go too. Hey, they go too close to them kids. You know what to do. Like that's how I play. Like I don't play.
But sadly, Lil Durk was only just finding out about OTF Jam before it was too late. However, he could have known sooner. As the feds announced they've been collecting evidence on Lil Durk for quite some time, academics was told about it and never even warned Lil Durk that it was happening.
It's from a group of journalists.
Wow.
Actually, I'll give up the source. Well, not really the person, but an Atlanta-based journalist said, "Hey, this is going to happen soon." And I said, "What?" And you know I get my sources and I get news told to me. They said,
he like the guy, he know everything.
I've been told that the feds have been looking into Lil Durk. But I remember, this is before the O Block 6 thing happened. Or actually maybe it was, I can't remember the timing. But I remember thinking after the O Block 6 or 5 like got convicted, I'm like, all right, Durk's finally in the clear. That's what I thought. But the person who was telling me, they say they had good authority that was coming from...
You gotta go somewhere?
Yeah,
investigative
Josh. You said one video, I'm like, okay, cool.
All right, we're gonna finish that one later.
I gotta teach class.
All right, that's the end of the video, man. If you new, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow the Instagram. Josh Jones. Nah, Andy, how you...
I'm not, this not a song, so I don't have to end it like that.
Y'all be safe, gang. Peace.